Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. This is the first episode of the Black Wolf podcast. My name is Stefan, and today I'll be discussing the most recent tragedy in my life for sporting reasons. That's Arsenal's loss to Chelsea last night, 4-1. If you were to be an optimist and say that we would have won the game, you'd have been a pretty optimistic Arsenal fan. Most of us, skeptics, but we have hope. But for me personally, I didn't really have any expectations going into this game. Seeing the recent run of form and knowing what we have available to us, I just knew that something magnificent would have had to have happened. The Valencia game in the semi-finals, second leg, it was a pretty impressive display, I have to say, because that performance just came out of nowhere. Valencia weren't really up to it, and the boys just really outshone or surpassed my own expectations. But yeah, that after seeing that game, it left me with a bit of hope, because in the league we didn't really have any extra room to get into the Champions League places. But it was what it was. The league was what it was. It's a rebuilding season. It's something new. New manager, new ideas, new voices. So it's not really a season to have like supreme levels of expectations. I went into this season just hoping for the best, and understanding that it's going to be new, a transition, and so be it. And it was. But fast forward to the game last night. When I watched the game on BT Sport, and when the Europa League, or the Summer League as I call it, when the anthem was going, I looked at the players and I wasn't confident. I was genuinely not confident in what I was about to see. Simply being, when you're up for something and you want to engage it, you want to win something and dominate it, and just with the best of your abilities, you have that look in your eye, that fire, that passion. But I didn't see it in a majority of these players' eyes. It was really surprising. In the first half, we weren't bad. We were dominating possession in a sense, running Chelsea around in circles, but I just feel like they kind of fooled us, bamboozled us on the game. Plus the day before, they were having like bust-ups in training, injury scares, and all these fake news. But I didn't believe anything that was coming out of that camp. But yeah, in the first half we were doing our thing, and I honestly thought we missed a bunch of chances. If we had scored the chances that were presented to us last night, I can guarantee you that we would have won the cup. The second half surprised me. The second half really shocked me. The first few minutes, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like, everybody just looked lackadaisical. They didn't look up for it. They just completely lost all enthusiasm in a 15-minute break. I'm like, what? Where's the enthusiasm? Where's the this and the that? Granted, it wasn't there to begin with, but seeing Unai Emery on the sidelines, we should multiply him. We should have multiplied him on the sidelines and put him on the field. Leave Check in goal because it's his last game and all that, but put him on the field. And I guarantee we would have at least won by 100-0. Just joking around there, but what I'm saying is his enthusiasm and passion should have been in the team, and it wasn't there. Lacazette and Aubameyang, people have inflated them or put them on this supremely high level pedestal that it's like they can do no wrong. And I don't like the idea of pumping up players so high to the point where when they make a big like dip in form, it's a surprise. The season, I mean, they had a decent season front to scoring wise, but it's not like these two are Jesus Christ, you know. They're going to have an off game, but I was really surprised that they both of them weren't up for it. Lacazette normally has like an immaculate work rate, but I didn't see it much last night. I saw it in bits and pieces when he won some fouls and stuff, but I didn't see it. I didn't see his usual running around. But it was what it was. Aubameyang on the other hand, he had a wicked opportunity to score a goal, and it wasn't working. It wasn't his night, as they say. It wasn't his night. And it's amazing because against Burnley and Valencia, this man scored a bunch of goals. And the way I've been seeing Arsenal for the past few months, it's it's obvious, but it's very top heavy. You have the strike force. That's the main core of the team. Two men can't save an entire team. The midfield, the midfield is sorry, to be honest with you. I mean, there are good players there, in different types of systems, but for what Unai Emery is trying to do, these aren't the players that's going to work within that system. Defensively, I've been watching football with more of an understanding eye since 2005. So from 2005 to now 2019, it's always been the same issue: defense. It kind of diminished over the years, but our defending has always been an issue to the team, and it really showcased itself last night. Everything was just all over the place. Laurent Koscielny, when Arsenal first bought this man, I was really intrigued, because buying somebody from a second division club in France, you know, you're not really optimistic to the fullest extent. But over the years, he's been one of the most consistent and most improved defenders. For one season, he was the best centre back, to the point Barcelona or even Man City wanted him. But you know, age plays a part. He just kind of diminished slowly, and now he can't really play more than a few games a week. Once a week is enough for him, because, you know, knees and stuff. Socrates, you know, he's usually extremely optimistic. He's an interesting defender. He's a kung fu fighter in the wrong sense of the word, but you know, I would have thought, based on his performances at Borussia Dortmund and how he improved over the years, because I've always known of him. I've never really seen him play much, except for like this season, but I've always heard of him and how he's a good defender and stuff, but I just never really known so much. But he's different. He brought something different to the team, like a bit of enthusiasm at the back. But it wasn't enough to save an entire team, because you have to defend as a whole, or it doesn't make any sense. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, my fellow Jamaican lad. This man is not a right back. He's not a winger. This man is a central midfielder. At best, a defensive midfielder. I play FIFA 19 a lot, and that's where I always put him in the defensive midfield position, because I don't really see him as a winger or as a defender or a right back, to be specific. If you watch the way he plays like a midfielder. You know, short passes, getting into areas and stuff. You know, you can do that on any part of the field, but it's like when you watch him, you can just tell that he's not a defender, and it's a shame, because he did his thing. You know, he was just filling a void for Hector Bellerin. But hey, I mean, he did his thing. He's not a right back, and that was really the only way we would have gotten in the team, is to be a right back, because to put him in midfield, I don't know what issues that would have caused, really. because something different has to be in there, like more mobility, and I think that's what he would have been. Like, let's say for example, you take Xhaka out and you put him in, tell him to like sit or just run around, be the legs, but you can't have two guys running around like a bunch of jackasses. Like if you put Ainsley in there with Torreira, it's not going to make any sense. Put him in there with Guendouzi, it's not going to make any sense. So Xhaka and if someone mobile with Xhaka, because I honestly don't know what Xhaka is, but yeah, that was Ainsley. Monreal and Kolasinac, the Bosnian tank who's actually German. Both of them are essentially left backs. Monreal played over there in the left wing back position once before, and you know, over time you lose your pace. I get that. He's done a fantastic job as a left-sided centre back, but both of them weren't on the same wavelength at times. I don't know how these guys train. When you go to the Arsenal YouTube page, it's a very different story. Like, you see optimism, you see fun, you see this and that. The one thing I don't see is like supreme structure. I always see okay, pass, yes. You know, you always see like, you see the enthusiasm from one man or the coaching staff, but with the players it's like they're just goofing around and stuff, and I don't really see anything or anyone taking it supremely seriously, which has always been my issue when seeing these videos. It's always good to have fun, anything you do in life, but it's like you don't really see what substantial thing they're working on. I can guarantee if Mustafi had played tonight, it would have been, oh, Mustafi did this, Mustafi did that. And it's like, man, everybody hates Mustafi. He's interesting. I was one of the few that called for him to come. I made a blog post about this man, saying, hey, come. I wanted him and what's the right back that went to Roma at the time? Paris. That Brazilian right back, fast as heck. But yeah, the time when he was linked to us, I was like, bring him in. He seems to be the perfect fit for what we're trying to do. But as that first season with Mustafi just went on, you can just see that this man's going to make a lot of mistakes. And fair enough. I mean, I've questioned his intelligence over the season, if I'm being honest, because sometimes he makes decisions I'm not really sure if he knows what he's doing sometimes. Someone made a YouTube video of him defending in games this season, and I was really surprised. Like, this man is ducking out of challenges for the ball, miscontrolling, mispassing on purpose, and I don't know if it's the way the video was edited, but some of these things I've seen in action live on my monitor, and it's really shocking. But yeah, back to the Europa League final. It was the first time I ever saw Arsenal in a final before, in a European final to be specific, and it was just really heartbreaking, to be honest with you. When Torreira came off, and he was crying, I felt so bad for the dude. He's really one of the only ones that does show passion, but like I said, he alone can't do everything. You know, it's a team effort. You know, he was trying. I think since Torreira was introduced to the team, or when we bought him, he's had this massive burden of being this Kante type player, and I think even the coaching staff place a lot of pressure on him. I don't know what baggage he's carrying on his back, but to me, he had a good first season in the Premier League, man, and he should hold himself up high, his head up high. It wasn't his greatest game, but he did try, and I have to give him props for that. The man of every conversation right now is Mr. Mesut Ozil, and I have to be honest, I tweeted out yesterday after the game, I didn't even know the dude was out there. The way he came off the field, I've never seen a player leave a field or a game like that before. You're being substituted and we're losing and you're walking off. I just sat in my chair and just laughed a bit because he pretty much sums up what I have an issue with this team. It's like he doesn't care, but on his Instagram he makes it seem like he's ready to fight. I've never seen this man fully run or break out into a sprint. Eidur Gudjohnsen said so yesterday on BT Sport with Martin Keown. This man said, I have never seen him break into a sprint. And I have to say to myself, I said, like, I've never seen him run either, you know. He turns up against the smaller teams in the league, but against like games that actually matter, he's non-existent. And you have to wonder why. When, like I said, I started watching football in 2005. My very first soccer game was FIFA 07. It's based off the 2006 season. So when I had that game, you know, I familiarized myself with like the teams, different teams and all that, and you know that's how I was introduced to like virtual soccer instead of like playing the actual game, because you know, growing up poor, you know, I didn't have money to do all that. But fast forward, through that game, I learned about like Mesut Ozil, you know, a young potential player. When this man was at Werder Bremen, going from FIFA to the Bundesliga, just watching games, I saw him run. He was a winger at one point, and to see the fact that he doesn't even try anymore, it blows my mind. He doesn't try to move. When you watch him play, you wonder how did he get from there to over there, right? And he just doesn't care. I mean, 350,000 pounds a week, convert that into US dollars, it's a lot of money. That's a lot of damage. But it just kind of goes to show that this man doesn't care. Werder Bremen, he tried. When he went to Real Madrid, he played in a Galacticos team. I get that. He was under more pressure there. I get that. It's a bigger team or a bigger club. I get that. But as a professional, where is your sense of pride in terms of why don't you just showcase to the people, just make your naysayers prove them wrong, show them that you do care, run, like break into a sweat. I have never seen this man like make an actual effort to get at a ball. But that's just him. I don't really want to pick on him, and I mean it's honestly an easy target. He's really too easy to get at. It doesn't make sense to solely go after him, because it's not one player that determines an entire football game. But you have to say, is he worth keeping after the game that we just saw? As an Arsenal fan, I think not. His situation is reminiscent to Jack Rodwell. When Sunderland brought Jack Rodwell in from Man City and placed him on some supremely high wages, you know, they thought they were getting like one of England's best players, and so on and so forth. But what they got instead was a dud. No offense to Jack Rodwell, but he wasn't really the kind of player that they wanted. And when I watched Sunderland Till I Die, it was the most shocking thing I ever saw. He didn't want to leave. He wanted to ride out his contract. And I looked at that from two different brains. One side, he wants to provide for his family. If he does terminate his contract there, he most likely would have made less money than what he's already on. So for him, from a financial standpoint and as a breadwinner standpoint, staying there would have made sense, right? Just ride out your contract for like a year or two that he had remaining on it. The other side of me is like, man, you need to have some pride and honestly some balls, man. You have to suffer a bit to like enjoy the fruits of your labor, but He didn't want to be released, which would have given Sunderland some extra funds to spend in the transfer market. So he was thinking of himself. So I go from that scenario to Mesut as the reason why we can't really sign much players or kind of wiggle around their wage budget much. I know he's on the highest wages there, but you have some of these players who are on some extremely high wages, and you have to think, like, who signs these players to these types of contracts, you know? At the time when we bought Ozil and he scored that goal against Napoli, it was wicked. I realized then that he wasn't a work horse, but he's a creative player, but he's more, as the media put it, he's an eloquent player. He's a master passer. He does this and he does that. Fair enough, man. But me, I used to be a winger and left back, and I had to bust my balls to run up and down just to keep my spot in the team. So seeing him do that yesterday, it was amazing. This man did not care. He did not have a care in the world, and it's sad to see. But yeah, he was substituted off for the next young Jamaican in the Arsenal lineup or factory, Mr. Willock. And honestly, he tried. Guendouzi came on too. He tried. You have to say the young players tried, but the ones that we were counting on didn't try or didn't do what we expected. And I guess it's expectations and reality. It's like we expect these players to turn up, but if they themselves as men don't turn up to a big game to get into the Champions League, then what's the point, right? But yeah, we lost. Iwobi scored our only goal. He scored our only goal, and I have to say, it really surprised me because I didn't expect it out of him, especially for the season that he's been having. It really shocked me. So he did his thing. Many rebuilding phases needs to happen. Things need to be addressed. I don't know where as fans we can go from here, because it's like we as fans, we know where we want to go, but do the club know where they want to go? I can sit here on my first podcast and say, yeah, I want us to go to Champions League and challenge. I want us to challenge in the Premier League. I want us to attract good players. I want us to promote the young players in our team, like Emile Smith-Rowe, Joe Willock, Eddie, Reese. All these young players. I want everything to gel, but it's like the languages or the love languages. I have to read a book on that, but the love languages in terms of footballing, nobody's speaking the same thing. It's a business, and that's what it's being run as now, and it's really sad to see that. But I do miss the creativity that we had. Like not tiki-taka, but Arsenal style of tiki-taka, like pass, but implement like a solid sense of defending, because this season I don't know what style we've been playing with, and it's really made games a bit mundane to watch. I don't know, it's like go out to Kolasinac, go out to Maitland-Niles, run forward. There's no interplay anymore. There's no beauty in the game. There's really nothing. I don't know really what. I don't really know what style of play it is anymore. It's not the Arsenal style of play, that's for sure. But it is what it is. It's a new season, a new rebuilding season, and now we're moving into the second phase of that season. Where will we improve? I don't know. The loss last night is a big dent to these players' fragile egos and confidences, to be honest with you. But they have to try again. We have to try and rebuild. Apparently we have £30 million to spend. I don't know what that can really buy or who we can bring in for that. But back in the summer league again, going out to random countries and stuff. But it is what it is. You get what you get from something what you put out. In FIFA, if anybody is a FIFA 19 fan, in FIFA, you know, the players are rated a certain amount and are valued at a certain amount. But I don't see any valuation in the way FIFA determines a player's price to reality. You know, it's just really shocking. I'm honestly lost for words. I watched Arsenal Fan TV or AFTV, you know, seeing the fact that these people spent their hard-earned money to go out to Baku to watch that. Man, I would have been upset too. I would have loved to have gone, but hey, I don't have a job and I don't have that level of disposable income, so it is what it is there. But it's really heartbreaking, and I felt really sorry for them, especially Troops. I've been a big fan of Troops since I started watching AFTV, and you know, if you bypass the Bloods fams and you get me, he does speak from his heart, and he's a true Arsenal fan. Like, don't distract yourself from the fact that this man has gone from point A to point B. He worked hard for that. You know, give the man praise. But listen to what this man says. And when I saw him just leave, it was like he was about to break out into tears like last night. And I felt it for him, man. Spent all that money just to go out there to watch that. A disgusting, pathetic performance by these overpaid, I should say, prima donnas. And I have to say, I feel sorry for anybody who went out there. The amount of hours that you have to spend to fly way out there and so on. It's just shocking. It's really shocking, but it is what it is. I've never seen anything like that before. As you can see, I'm still rambling because I don't know what to say. I don't know what to feel anymore. After I saw we won the FA Cup back to back, and then we won it again the year after we failed to compete in it, I was like, cool, I've seen my team win something. Not the Emirates Cup or anything else for that matter, but like, I've seen us win a trophy. I felt the buzz off that. I'm in Florida and I felt the buzz off that, and you know, it was a blessing. But to win a European trophy, I've never seen that. You know, we do have history, but people who tend to keep going back into the past don't really look forward to the future. You know, so it is what it is. Besides all my rambling, good luck to both Liverpool and Spurs. You know, I was debating with myself if I should solely support Liverpool. But I have to say, you know, it's as a neutral, I just want to see good football. Whoever wins. I mean, it would suck for Spurs to win, yes, but you have to say that they progressed massively in the years that they have been rebuilding and doing their thing. So for them to be where they are, you have to give them mad respects for that. So I mean, I have nothing but respect for them. So I wish both teams the best of luck, because I wish my team was where they are, you know, but it's not the way it works. But good luck to them. I'll definitely be watching that. Hope to see some good football and stuff, and just focus on the football that's on the pitch and not things outside of it. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for listening to my first podcast episode. I know it's full of arms and random pauses, but I hope to improve and go from here. But thank you so much and have a great